But our final panellist today is Joanna Lyons. So Joanna is a senior manager at Deloitte with expertise in carbon strategy and agricultural sustainability. She advises clients on how to leverage carbon markets to support methane reduction goals in the livestock sector. Joanna focuses on the integration of emerging protocols, verification standards and financial incentives to help unlock investment in climate smart practices across agricultural systems. Thank you, Joanna.
Claire, you took the words out of my mouth. That is a challenging act to follow. It's incredible to see what's going on at Bar Dairy. So congratulations to Steve and family. And on that note, I'm honored to be here today in front of you all. I've had an amazing last few days at this conference learning, and so it's a pleasure to be here. I am part of Deloitte's Sustainability and Climate team. Just a note on Deloitte, we're one of the largest professional services firms in the world. Our consulting practice helps clients tackle their gnarliest problems from strategy to implementation and operations. And our consulting group, specifically within sustainability, we really help our clients, food and ag, and other industries as well, across value chains, identify and realize the business value associated with these types of sustainability activities, not limited to methane mitigation, but inclusive of. So with that, I think I should also thank Paul for speaking to insets and offsets as well, but I have my own probably overly simplified graphic here. But when at the producer level, a metric ton of CO2e or carbon dioxide equivalent is reduced or removed, in an offsetting scenario, again, it can be sold to an outside entity, but on the insetting side, what's really exciting is that it stays within the value chain. And if the proper MRV, of course, is in place, we can assure that there's no double counting, that value can actually be shared and claimed by different stakeholders at different nodes of the value chain. What this enables in some cases, if desired, is that attribute actually traveling with the product itself to enable consumer-facing claims, on-pack labels, things like that. But more often than not, we are seeing companies with aggressive Scope 3 commitments really looking upstream towards their suppliers with an eye towards collaborating on making progress on those Scope 3 commitments. What this necessitates is within a corporation, some additional muscles, I would say, around proper MMRV approaches, bringing together sales teams, procurement teams, sustainability teams, executive level leadership buy-in is critical. It's really an additional muscle to make sure that these transactions are happening at the scale and pace that's needed to meet climate commitments and to do so effectively in a corporate setting. So with that, I wanted to share a little bit at a high level some of the trends we're seeing in carbon agricultural markets broadly. We've talked about over the last few days, the evolving measurement landscape, of course. I would say the same applies in some cases to standards. So to take an example of the land sector removals guidance, it is still draft, and what that means for companies, we're seeing some corporations that are looking at that guidance taking more of a cautious, a wait-and-see approach, some acting more aggressively, even though there are still some gray areas, if you will. We think about carbon removals as a use case here where we're seeing that. We'll talk a little bit more. I have some data on the next page as well around willingness to pay for insets and offsets. There is a range that is fairly wide in some cases that we're seeing. And so what that means for companies is to be really strategic in how they engage with buyers of these credits. So we're seeing increasing ability to be transparent with their costs so they can have some really honest discussions about what the costs are and identifying partners that are willing to go on a journey to reduce those costs over time. We're seeing increasing desire to partner with those with similar accounting models for allocation approaches, be it mass allocation or economic allocation, and also thinking about the box, outside of the box a little bit, at the full range of customers. For example, a beef processor might have, which in some cases includes fashion and apparel companies. If they have Scope 3 reduction goals, those are typically higher margin businesses. And so some interesting discussions and different discussions around willingness to pay there can happen. Last but not least, when we talk about insetting specifically, how to make this all work on the books, so to speak, there are a lot of discussions really around how to de-risk these activities, working with suppliers effectively. And I think a thread I've heard in a lot of these sessions, which I'll emphasize here, is just the need to really focus on productivity and expand the discussion from, this can't just be about emissions reduction. The discussions that are taking place are really framed in terms of making one's value chain and supply chain more efficient, more resilient, and more productive. I'll close out here with some data from a recent Deloitte survey. This is preliminary data, as you could see here, but we recently conducted a survey of 51 food and agriculture executives at companies with greater than $1 billion in annual revenue. I've taken just the beef and dairy respondents here, given the nature of this discussion. But you can see in terms of inset and offset willingness to pay that they indicate. There's some range. We've taken a few different views of the data here. You can see the average and the medians, which give us a little bit of a fuller picture. By and large, we're seeing higher prices on the inset side as compared to offsets. It's relatively newer. It's limited to the value chain. One of my favorite data points from this survey is that the question, where do you see these prices a year from today, broke down roughly evenly. So roughly a third of respondents said we expect prices to be higher. Roughly a third said we expect prices to be lower. Roughly a third said we expect them to remain the same. I will add here, acknowledging the methane discussion, that this survey is conducted all in the context of CO2e, so carbon dioxide and equivalents. We haven't seen a great deal of price differentiation around constituent gases. We're seeing more discussions and differences in willingness to pay around reductions versus removals, which is important to keep in mind here as well. So with that, I will let us get to our panel discussion, and looking forward to it. Thank you.